Okay, so hi Billy.
Hello, Marissa.
How are you?
Doing fine. Hi, everyone. I'm Billy Burrows.
He is, you work at Red Hat, correct?
Yes, I manage a support division over at Red Hat.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So if you do not know what Red Hat is, could you explain it to them?
Yes, we are a Linux software company. We also make a number of other products, but our main purpose is open source software, which basically means we're not proprietary. We believe in open code.
Perfect. So, I guess to just knock this off, do you know what Article 13 is?
No.
So it is a law currently going through Parliament right now in the EU, and it states that any copyrighted material not used for educational purposes or for parody, I think that's just for educational purposes or for
Right.
parody, will immediately be taken down. It is trying to eliminate the safe harbor law,
Okay.
which means that any company that has copyrighted material found on them will immediately be responsible for this copyrighted material instead of the
Okay.
people who publish the copyrighted material.
Gotcha. Okay.
So it will take away.
So even if you copy something
so
that's been stolen, you
it's
get in trouble.
So if you post like a movie on YouTube,
Right.
that instead of the people getting copyright strike, YouTube gets copyright strike, and it's on
Oh,
YouTube.
God, it's on YouTube. Okay. Gotcha.
So it's essentially takes away the safety of companies
Right.
and the sanctity of companies and blames them for any copyright material that can be
Right.
found.
And
on
they
their
got to have
sites.
an entire department pay a lot of money to have employees
Exactly.
go through all that stuff. Yeah, that's a lot of work.
So this could potentially affect all of the Google software companies,
Okay.
as well as Instagram, Twitter,
Yeah.
Facebook,
Yeah.
YouTube, Snapchat. So essentially anything that uses the safe harbor law here in
Right.
the U.S. could potentially be shut down.
Interesting.
So I know that you're familiar. I'm assuming you're familiar with our Fair Use Act here in America.
No, go.
So the Fair Use Act essentially says that anything that being used for educational purposes or for media, like on YouTube, it essentially opens a kind of a safety bubble for any people posting copyrighted material
Okay.
under these.
Right. So if
under
a
these
student uses
notifications.
something, yeah, that's
Exactly.
fine. It's plagiarism, but we're not going to go after you.
Exactly.
Right.
But here in the U.S., our laws are written in a way where many things can be interpreted in many different ways,
Right.
opening up the law to new technologies that come about across time. So the law never gets dated.
Right, okay.
But unlike that law, Article 13 uses very restricted language and very vague language to describe this law, which will prevent any companies from finding loopholes around it.
Right.
So knowing what you know now, would you say that the potential for this law could spread into how we interact with people across the web today?
Yeah, no, I completely see it that way. I think I can always see copyright going against a person who initially stole it. So if you're at the movie theater and you're recording that movie, I think it's fair to go after that person for a copyright law. But if you post it on the internet and somebody else finds it and reposts it again, I do not think that person should be held, or Google in this sense. If somebody uploads it to YouTube, which is owned by Google, if somebody uploads it to YouTube, and they were not the ones who recorded it, I do not think Google should be held responsible for that. Now, I think whoever uploaded it, they can go after that person, but I don't think Google, just because they're the medium. I don't think the medium should be held accountable. I think the person who uploaded it, who took the medium itself and ran with it, should be held responsible, but not the medium itself.
So that's what a lot of people are fighting for against this
Right.
law. It's currently in its third stage of Parliament, which means it's about to get passed, and the language could be set in stone. So a lot of people who agree with this law say that it's protecting copyright holders.
Yeah, it is.
But a lot of people who disagree say that it's attacking smaller creators, like YouTube creators, from making any original content. Do you think it favors more of the big companies or just all copyright holders in general?
Do I think it favors the big companies? No, I mean it doesn't, because they're going to have to hire people to go after this information. But you're referring to like the movie companies themselves, like Warner Brothers and all that.
The music industry,
Right,
like
okay.
Fox,
Right.
CBS.
I don't think this is going to affect anything other than having the big companies that control the medium are just going to have to hire people to go after this. It's just more enforcement. I don't think those other companies are going to make more money. I don't think they're losing money because of this. All it's going to do is have another layer of Big Brother always having to. It's going to cost the company. Look over the show. It costs people money. It's funny because I work for an open source company, which has we have these laws which say that once we create a product and we pass it on to somebody else, anybody else can do anything they want with it. They can manipulate the code. They can do anything they want. And once we put this little stamp on there, nobody else can ever copyright it. It's free for everybody. Now, in saying that, this is not filming a movie or anything, so this is much different. This is artistic, expression, which is a little bit different than, say, code. But at the same time, I think you can do this for a lot of things. I know if you listen to music, you'll hear songs that sound very similar to another song. That doesn't mean, you can do this all day. And I think the more layers of laws that you put on like this, these copyright laws, trademark laws over and over again, it's just going to cause people to kind of like, what else can we do? What else can we do to kind of stop artistic expression, or even people who are manipulating things a little bit here and there? I just think it's another layer of just legality that I think is bad for
just muddying the water.
Right, it is big time. So that's a good way to put it. It's muddying the water.
Muddying the water.
Yeah, right.
So I guess what I'm just trying to get from everyone that I've been interviewing is the whole argument against this is that the language needs to be changed, but no one has really come up with any alternatives for it. So if you were, let's say that you were part of the parliament and that you were part of the voting team pushing this and editing it, what are some of the changes that you might make to make this law, I guess, more beneficial or less damaging or less muddying to the companies that it's going to affect?
I think maybe putting a time frame around something, which I do see. So if you we've all been in this situation before, where somebody sends you a link, and you go to that link and it's a dead link saying this has been brought down for. I think there should be a time period where, say, I go see the newest hit movie at the movie theater, I record it and I upload it to YouTube. If it's up there a week from now, I don't know how long, but how long what's a good time. But if it's up there a week from now, maybe that's when you can say, hey, you're not doing your job, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
But just immediately saying that as soon as something's uploaded, or you gotta stop anything from being uploaded, that's too much. There should be maybe more parameters around the law. Again, the law makes sense, but you just can't. Of course, it's going to make sense, but it doesn't make sense to hold the big boys against it. The Amazons, the Googles, the Facebooks, all those. Again, I wish they would be held accountable for a lot of other things. I don't think this is one of them. I think this is another EU way of going after the biggest corporations in the world, mainly American companies, and basically finding loopholes to kind of slow them down. The monopolizing part of it. I think they've been doing this for years to Google. It's I know they're going after Facebook now a little bit, but the GDPR and all that new regulations that they're doing, I feel like this is just another way of them trying to slow down these companies. And all they're doing is doing a good job building themselves up. I mean, it's capitalism at its finest. But at the same time, I think there's ways to create laws to protect the individual and the large music companies, movie companies, without holding Amazon, Facebook, the same companies accountable over and over again. So, yeah.
Well, thank you, Billy. That was the best interview I've gotten so far.
Oh, good. Well, thank you.
Thank you.